once look for SKUs that are related to overclockable, are the K SKUs. You can all of the K related at the end of the product number are K SKUs are overclockable. And if you have one of those and you have the right platform, you can overclock a little bit or a bunch, and you can get usually a little bit more performance out of the system that you already have, which is something that is basically free performance. So
So say I was playing Call of Duty, and sometimes the sprites kind of like, you can't really see a target very well in the distance, or something might, like, I might see a character move strangely in a slightly rendered area, like far away or something like that. Overclocking would allow me to actually see that target a little bit better and have their movement
mhm.
be a little bit more smooth across the screen.
Okay, yes and no, because what our clocking is going to do is going to get you more performance out of the system. Then you can use that performance to go and, for example, like up the resolution of the game, or you can change the resolution of the texture that you are creating within the game. So you're going to have more like a higher ceiling to get and do more stuff on the behind the underneath that. So you can first overclock your CPU, get a little bit more performance out of the system, and then you can use that performance to create something within the game, to change something and have, as I said, more higher resolution textures, for example. Or you can jump into a higher resolution screen and you can say like, well, I'm not gonna be rendering the game at 720p. I'm gonna render at 1080p or even 2K or 4K, whatever. So that is gonna give you the edge at the end of the game, the day in the game, but the overclocking is going to give you more headroom to do that. So it does
Got
help,
it.
but it's like a secondary. Yeah,
So it really is kind of like a holistic thing. It's like it's almost like a kernel in a computer. It sits at the bottom and allows you to send additional resources somewhere in the program to allow you to have
yeah,
better
because
performance in certain and across the board pretty much.
exactly. But basically, what we're doing is games at the end of the day is like a task for the computer. The computer is just creating a task, which is a super specific task, which is the game that we are trying to render, and it has texture, it has triangles, has a lot of AI interactions between characters. There's a lot of things that are happening at the same time. But for a computer, that's just a bunch of tasks. And actually, games are one of the the most like the heaviest tasks that a computer can create. So can try to complete. So then you get all of that and you throw it to the CPU and the GPU and the hard drive and everything. Well, the SSD if you're running a current computer, and they're just trying to go through all of those tasks, which at the end of the day, the tasks are actually commands that are going into the CPU and coming out of the CPU as fast as possible. So what you're doing with the overclocking is you're trying to get more cycles per second. That's what you're doing.
Got it.
Overclocking means that just more clocks, or the clock is going faster for each second that you're trying to do stuff. So every time you're getting a little bit of an overclock, you're putting more commands into the CPU, and you're getting more commands out of the CPU. And then of course that is performance that you can see in the execution of the process, which can translate into the what we are talking about, which is the game itself, and you can use it for something. So, and there's actually benchmarks that you can use just to measure that performance. There's mentioned that are specific for CPUs, for GPUs, for the system itself as a whole, and you can use it to try to see, okay, so how is my system stacking up to everybody? How is my system stacking up to just hard drives, just CPUs, just GPUs? And that is like the entrance, the gateway that I was talking about when there's people that are going into that just to try to benchmark CPUs and try to world records. And they're not basically using the games as a. Interesting because the game for them becomes the overclocking and the benchmarking itself, and the games that we play as a gamer become the just the task that you put into the CPU to try to get the number of the benchmark. So that's it's interesting. It's like a flipped kind of scenario, but at the end of the day, it's really close to what we're doing as a gamer. We want the hardware to use it, we want the hardware to play the game, or of course we want a good experience. But they're doing it the other way around. They're using the games as benchmarks, but the game for them is actually the setting of the hardware, the choosing of the hardware, and the tuning of the hardware, which is what we are doing at Intel to try to get them a good
So
experience both ways. Yeah.
one last question from me, and then I'll let you off the hook.
No
So
worries.
when you were describing all of this, what I was thinking of is, from a putting us in the context of esports, someone who may potentially be bringing their rig with them into a
Mhm.
competition. Would a guy like you actually almost be like like a pit crew kind of guy for like in race cars, they got the pit crew guy
Mhm.
who's always checking on the performance of the car and everything like that. Would there be like a forward deployed overclocker engineer or something like that who would go along with these guys?
I will say I don't know the answer because I'm not that close to that kind of esport scenario, but I will say that they gotta have someone like that because I'm guessing, and I'm going to just like assume something. I've seen a few movies related to F1, and yeah, the driver drives, and that's it. The driver doesn't. He knows the mechanics of the car, so I would guess that the person that is the competitor that is doing the esport is just concentrated on the game itself and like getting the game itself better and working with the team. I would guess that they gotta have someone that is just doing the tuning. Maybe it's not just overclocking, maybe it's system wide because overclocking itself is something that is super specific. And I would guess that in an esports scenario, you need someone that is more system wide because it's a whole other topic that you're talking about. When they're talking about esports, they have their own set of rules. Overclocking is one of them, but they also are looking stability, as Richie said, because they don't want the system to crash during like mid game. But they are also not also measuring the system speed just at the CPU level or just at the memory level. They even got something that is they're measuring l- total system latency, and they measure it from click to screen, which is something that I've actually started to see like a couple years ago. And it's like, okay, they have systems that is like an outside system that is measuring the latency from the moment that the esport player clicks to the moment that the screen refreshes the first pixel and shows that the gun shot because that's what they're actually getting at. That's
Right.
their latency. So we and like the CPU and the system itself is going to be like a part of it. Of course, you want the least possible latency in that specific system in the part in the middle of it. But if you go beyond it, they need everything because if they have, for example, the fastest CPU in the world, but they have like a 45 millisecond latency monitor, it's going to just not worth it because you need also the latency of the monitor to be really really low, and that is actually something that happens with it's like TV screens, like the TV that you can have in your living room next to, for example, a gaming monitor. One of the differences is like because you're watching TV, the signal is coming out of your Chromecast or your whatever box that you have to uh, do TV, but then the latency is not a problem because you can have like 1 second of latency and the TV show is just going to come out 1 second later, which doesn't matter because you're just consuming all at once, like in a like a linear way. But if you're talking about gaming, 1 second is just going to completely mess up your game. So that are the kind of difference that you have in different hardware stuff. With gaming monitors, they've been going through a path of the lowest possible latency, and also they've been going through a path of refresh rates. There, I don't know if you guys seen that, but there's like 60 hertz, 75 hertz, and they're going up to like 144, and there's now like 400 hertz, and that just means the refresh rate of the pixels within the screen. And it's like if you can refresh your pixels faster, that means that your game is just going to present the latest possible information that are going to get, and you can get your headshot faster. That's basically it. So yeah, it's just like a complete
Awesome.
system and a complete system wide that you have to look at it and not just this part because in esports their application is the game itself and trying to get the players to win the game at the end of the day, right? But they gotta have someone like a pit crew mechanic. I like that idea. I like that idea. I'm gonna look into it. Thank you for the suggestion.
Well, no, thank you, Carlos.
Cool.
No,
So
no.
a question from my. Oh, go ahead,
Okay.
please.
No. Questions from the people. I have 3 questions later, but I'll give space for everyone in here first.
Yeah, please go.
Go ahead. Any questions?
Who
I
wants
have a
to ask a
question for
question?
I have a question for the community, like everybody that's here. Like, uh, I said it for myself. I am a PC gamer. I've have consoles in my life, but they never give me the thrill of the hardware itself because it's just like a closed box. So I'm gonna ask people what do they use? Like, because I've heard a little bit of like mobile and also PC, but are you guys using laptops? Are you building your own desktops? Are you using mobile tablets, a combination? I want to ask this question for everybody actually. PC, hardcore PC. I like you, freak. Cool. Yeah.
And
Okay. Cool.
we
Cool.
do have a lot of mobile players here in our community. But me with PC, it's like it's been always PC games from Counter Strike, PUBG, Super People, Call of Duty, all those things is like my stuff. For sports game though, like FIFA, I use console.
Yeah. There are
Or
scenarios where console just wins in some
yeah,
control, the remote, the shareability, the big screen on the
yes,
TV. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
exactly. And for when I play console, I either use a big monitor or a projector, and I play with a projector. But
Yeah.
there's a with a projector you have the latency thing, so
Yeah.
there is a big problem there. But I do have one question because I'm also a creator. I like working with 3D animation, video editing, all those things. Does and I guess like overclocking is one thing for those also. You can like for render, like when you
Oh
render
yeah.
items and stuff like that. And my question goes towards that. Like I wanna overclock my PC now. I haven't.
Oh yeah.
Where do I learn that? Where do I go to do that? It's like Milendro is editing videos, and sometimes it's like, oh, it's taking me 3 hours, 4 hours. How can we
Mhm.
overclock it? Where can we learn about that and or get more information? Do you have a blog? Do you have something out there that
I,
we can look at?
I don't have a blog myself, but I will point you to two repositories. The first repository is that I will point you to Reddit. There's an overclock or clocking subreddit that is just awesome. They have all the information. They answer really fast. They probably have most of the systems that are already out there. And the other one that I will point you to, which is not exactly overclockable, but it's just really cool to look at, is actually they have a subreddit and they also have a Discord channel that is this official PCMR, which is it's kind of the name of it is just related to PC and like celebrating PC, but maybe the name could be a little bit complicated, but it's a PC Master Race. That's what they call it, and it's just related to all things PC. So that's my first two like go tos,
You said
especially the subreddit because they're going to answer. The other one just to look at good cool PCs and see what people are doing and just understand it.
you said PC
And
Master Race. Sorry.
yeah, PCMR. They call it official PCMR, and it's called PC Master Race, and it's just like a subreddit. It's just all things PC in general, and they have all of the channels. I think they have Twitter, they have Discord, they have Reddit, they have everything basically. And that one's not to just go to overclock. Reddit is the one for that, but of course the looking at the PCs and trying to understand them, the PCMR is just good, and they have good memes also, so that's pretty good. Um, and to answer your first part of the question related to creation, yeah, of course. As me, I also dabble a little bit into creation, like video editing mostly, and yeah, that video editing mostly, shooting and video editing, just like as a hobby. And yeah, the pain point of the video editing at the end of it is just like the render. Yeah, you have like a really long video rendering is just minutes or hours, even if you have a really slow PC. So, overclocking is perfect for that because it's going to basically scale linearly. If you overclock 20%, you're going to get 20% faster render because that's just the games are a little bit different because they're doing a lot of things at once and they're showing it and in the screen and they're uh, getting things from memory and textures and like getting things from the video card. So it's almost like a all around kind of workload in the CPU in the system itself, and of course the CPU is part of it. But for render, no. For render is basically just like a super linear load directly to the CPU. And actually, renders right now are still one of the workloads that are just CPU tasking. They're not going to the GPU most of the time because CPU is something related to graphics, and well, there's a lot of workloads related to the AI and like matrix multiplication and all those things that are related to like artificial intelligence. But if you're talking about rendering and video creation and everything related to like all the softwares for creating audio, even they're most of the times are just related to the CPU. So yeah, it works. And in my experience, like gaming computers can be pretty good to do creative stuff like video creation. But of course, if you look into it, there's all other area of not CPU, like computers that are specifically created for creation. And there's for example, Asus has this. Asus is one of the brands that Intel like sells computers to, like CPUs and the platforms. Asus they have this uh, like a line of products that are related to creation, monitors that are color calibrated, and for example, motherboards that have a lot of connectivity related to like external SSDs and like exporting video and audio and all those things. Uh, so you can create like your own video editing station just within the uh, something similar as a gaming computer. But there's of the other part, which is workstations, and workstations are most of the times they cannot game, and they have their own specialized hardware, and that kind of computer is most of the time just bought by a business, like a corporation that is looking for have a bunch of editors, but they have different hardware, and they have more cores, and they have different video cards, and they have all of the RAM. So it is a little bit different. Probably most gamers are not going to buy that, but it's also interesting to look at to see like a I don't know, like a 40 core 80 thread computer with 1.5 terabytes of RAM for something related to creation is just awesome. I just love it. So you can double into that workstation kind of hardware. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
super cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Sorry, I was adjusting my camera. Thanks a lot, Carlos. And Carlos is around. He's in the community, right? So you can find him in Discord and mostly in Telegram, I think,
Yeah.
but also in our Discord.
Yeah.
But mostly in
Telegram.
Telegram, yeah.
Telegram, I think it will be like the go-to because Discord I use it like a go-to and look for information, but I'm not like checking it out every day. But Telegram and yeah, and I also have Twitter, but I don't use it that much. So I have to because now you guys are using it as a way to go and show the world. So yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Carlos.
So yeah, thanks a lot. And Freak, let's move then to the next topic. Carlos, we'll see you around, and probably we maybe contact you because there's a lot of interest and questions for you. So maybe writing some content together. Our blog is open for you also if you want to write something and share it with
Cool.
our community.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Let me know. I just dabbled a little bit into like connecting with this community, but I know that this is something that you guys are going for the long run, and I do believe that it's going to grow, and I want to be here. Let's let me know, and we can write, and everything hardware related and gaming and everything. I will gladly try to help and try to with the small pieces of time that I have. I will just get together. Yes, do it. Thank you,
Th-
guys.
Thank you,
Okay,
Carlos. It was awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
And stick around because now we have super exciting announcement, something that everybody has been waiting for. Freak, what is it?
Okay, so this is the moment. This is what we've been waiting for. So I'm really excited about it. I learned about it and I read it yesterday. So this is fresh out of the oven. This is something that you're gonna get the sneak peek before we release all the all the documentation, all the things. But I think we promised this and we're delivering. I know the team worked really hard to have this. So I think it's time for our roadmap. And I don't know how do you wanna show it, Richie? but it is kind of like, why don't we show what we already have walked, like the path we walked? Because I bet you, like many of you don't know, like what's going on backstage, all the things they've developing, all the things that they're creating and are already working, that were in the roadmap, and then is looking at the future quarter by quarter. So Richie, do you wanna share your screen? Do you wanna how do you wanna show it? Richie?
Yeah, maybe. Do you have it in yours? And you let me share my screen. Just give me a second. So for now, maybe what we can do is let's go over the topics of the roadmap that we already accomplished up to this point, and let me get ready to share it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, but I can share it if you want,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
okay. So
Yeah, please.
what I'll do is that I'll have like my screen. Will be sharing my screen, so everyone just connect to it. You know, like everyone. And I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna stream it also for the Twitch people. I'm already showing DEGA's roadmap, what happened in 2022. So you wanna jump in, Richie, and we walk
Yes,
together through
yes.
this.
Sure. So let's start with what happened already in 2022. These some people joined DEGA actually around 2022. Some of the people in the community. It's when the project started, and in the third quarter is the first time that DEGA can call itself DEGA. I would say the vision of Carlos started to shape form. Right, he formed a team, and he launched the project in the third quarter of that year. He started working on the architecture design, and he already, I understand, had a team of people, right, working on that, and started forming and adding more people. That's around when also Freak, right, and I joined. And then around that quarter, he also started working, or with the team, they also started working on the concept, right, of the meta chains and everything in the DevOps, meaning everything in the backend that allows then the products to be built on top. So the architecture design was like the blueprint of everything that is going to happen in DEGA, and then with that, they continue for the meta chain, the idea of the meta chains, right? That we're going to be describing a little bit more in the future. But that's when we move into the next quarter. That's when a lot of people started joining, right? Because we had the DEGA Ambassador program. That's maybe one of the first milestones of that quarter, and that's also when our sales team or people from DEGA that are in charge of going and doing an active outreach to builders, to game studios, to game designers to start using the API that DEGA was creating. And that's when it was released, right, to this type of people. Right now it's not like openly available for everybody to test, but some we are talking with some people that are already testing, and the coding of DEGA Studio started. That's another milestone there, right? That the DEGA Studio is something that we are going to be sharing more and more. It's you're going to see it more in the roadmap, so it makes sense a little bit to go a little bit there more in detail. Maybe somebody else also that is in the call. Do you want to share maybe Omar or Rabbit King a little bit about DEGA Studio? What's the plan there? What's the audience? What's our market?
I don't know if they can jump in, but at least Rabbit, if you're there, you can talk about the DEGA Studio. DEGA Studio it is a product for developers, for game developers. And as I said, like as Richie said, I want to jump back to the API for Web3 gaming and metaverse. We've seen it in action, and it's incredible to see how people right now can create a new blockchain and assets and items for a game just in a matter of seconds. You don't have to like go through a whole, like learn to code again journey to jump into this, but it's just like it just happens. Is magically, like I've been working with blockchain projects for so long that when I just saw it, like working out is like, oh my God, this is a game changer. But Rabbit unmuted, so I'm going to give the word to him.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we want to stay focused on the roadmap itself right now. If there are questions about our specific products that we are developing here at DEGA, we'll talk more about that later, but there's a lot of information to get through on the roadmap. So DEGA Studio is one of our products. It's for game developers. So if you the quick answer is, if you think about the one place where all of the places a game studio might need to be able to see measurement of what's going on in their economy, or how much of the load is being used when a certain meta chain um, is being utilized, or so it really is kind of like it really is kind of like a dashboard for everyone to be able to go to. So within Dega Studio, you'll be able to go to a bunch of different places, including build tools, monitoring tools, like all the things that you could think of that you might need as a game designer, including the API to be able to actually launch and launch a game and launch your assets into the blockchain.
Thanks. Yep, that's a very good explanation. So it's that maybe let's move next to this year, because I think it was important to talk a little bit about the API, then Tega Studio, and now let's look what this year will bring us. Frick, do you want to move the? Okay, great. Now I updated. So right now, we are working in the Dega Studio demo release, and well, it was already released actually, as we said before, already been tested with interesting parties, and the roadmap, which is what we are doing today. Actually, we're releasing the roadmap. We also are planning to. We have been working on a new site for Dega, a new website, and that's going to be coming this quarter as well. And the tournament, the DEGA tournament launch, which is basically what we have been working on. We already launched it, right? We have been improving it, and this Friday is going to be amazing. So remember to subscribe, to participate. We have amazing prizes. And by this quarter, the token private sale will also take place. And in terms of development for next quarter, of course, this quarter, the first quarter development is still ongoing, and the second quarter, there is a limited release for Dega Render, which is maybe a counterparty to Dega Studio. Dega Studio is more focused on the game designers and game studios, and Dega Render is the end user app. Freak, do you want to share a little bit about that one?
As Rabbit said, we're gonna be like sharing a lot more on publications soon to come, and that information is gonna be given. But yeah, is the user part, is the part for the gamers, is the part for the people that are here. So you're gonna love it, and it's all I can say. But
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay. Yeah.
it's very simple. It's your as a community member and as a user, it's your portal into the Dega ecosystem. So games being built on Dega, you'd be able to get to them through there. If you have assets that you want to interact with our community, or even outside the community, you'd be able to come to this one portal that would allow you as an end user, as a gamer, to be able to come in and do all the things that you'd want to do with us at Dega.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Rabbit King. Always supporting us. And by that quarter, we also plan to release the white paper. Of course, all the tech has been think through in the architecture design, but writing it in a white paper, that's something that is happening, and we plan to release it in the second quarter of this year. The same quarter, the partner program launch. That's also, we're going to be sharing more information about that later. Very interesting. And a referral program launch to continue growing. We plan to grow a lot this community. So quarter 2 is going to be interesting for growing and for the community. The third quarter, the Dega Studio plans to be released publicly. Well, that's the plan, right? To release publicly Dega Studio to everybody interested, we have been working in the second quarter of growing the people or the community and the people that will use the DEGA Studio. And by the third quarter, we will release it together with the power system that we already shared a lot last week. We're going to be sharing more details in the future. With DEGA Studio, then a developer program is going to be launched as well. So we grow not only in users, but also in developers and people that are going to start building and using DEGA tech. At the same quarter, we released the dev console. That is going to be a huge milestone also. And maybe we, well, I don't know if we want to talk a little bit about that one. Is there something to say, Rabbit King or Freak?
Yeah, if you think of the DEGA Studio, there's a bunch of things for developers that plug in there, and one of the things that is going to plug in there, when I was talking about Studio before, you want to be able to quickly move from the Studio directly into the Dev Console. So the Dev Console and the Developers Program, they look like they're linear, but they're actually kind of like going to be launched at the same time. So once we have the solid development tools and our APIs and everything like that really coded in well with whatever a developer wants to work on. If a developer's working on the Unreal Engine, we're going to want to be able to allow the Dev Console to be able to communicate with the Unreal Engine or any other kind of gamer developer platform. So that's kind of like what the console is. Those are where all the tools really are simplified, and it makes sense to game developers so that they don't have to deal with the intricacies of blockchain. They just launch their assets just like they would to a traditional database.
Thanks a lot. Yep, very clear. And by the end of the year, the last quarter, we'll bring DEGA Token Launch, the public release of DEGA Render, and an event we are calling Liquida. Is a liquid reality event that will launch the project to the public, to everybody. Will celebrate the token launch with this event, and that's what we have for this year. And now, if anybody wants to ask any questions, you can also share the questions in Telegram and such and Discord, and we'll be answering about them. But remember, we are going to share more details about each milestone of the roadmap soon. Rick, anything else that we want to share before we start wrapping it up?
No, I think it's the logic that we're working on, and why community has been such an important part of building this. Because in order to have the best games, the best developers, the best things happening in the gaming world, supported by the best infrastructure in gaming, you need the community that is going to tell you where to go, how to do it, what works, what doesn't, the first ones to test it, the first ones to enjoy it, the first ones to compete, the first ones to learn and go to tournaments, and also be part of that whole DEGA ecosystem. So we kind of created this order of things based on, first, is like delivering what we say we're going to deliver, and with the highest quality, but also have the people that are connected to this vision already there, because their comments, their feedback, the usability, their experience, their knowledge, the rituals we build are part of this. So it is like kind of like we're working and walking along with you, and we're actively listening and actively learning from what you want, what you say, what you think, and all those things gives us also inputs in how to make it better. So I don't know, this is very, the way it is created, I think it's really, really, really smart and connects with what we think this world should be, talking about games and metaverse. But that's it. You're going to find more information and we're going to release this soon so everyone can see it. For me, I consider myself lucky to be in this town hall watching this, because I can see my future unravel in front of me. So I love it. And thanks, Omar. Thanks, Rabbit, and everyone on the team. I know this is really thoughtful and hard work to get to this, but it's a very special moment. At least for me, it is. And there are like key moments in this roadmap that get me really excited. And obviously, maybe some people will have like, okay, the DEGA render will be for them, DEGA Studio will be for them, or the whole Liquida event, which is a whole project in itself, and it's kind of like, we've been talking about liquid reality, and it's the moment that happens. So there are like a lot of exciting things here.
I just want to close with saying, just keep in mind, everyone, that this is, if any edits happen to this, if there are any delays or anything magic happens and we get something done early, we're going to keep you informed as the roadmap changes. So we're not just creating a roadmap and just letting it sit there. On the operations team, we are continually looking at these, milestones and evaluating them against the entire development process, everything that's going on. And so as this changes, we will keep you informed.
Okay, Richie, I think that's a wrap for today. I was talking and I was muted. Sorry for that, but I think that's a wrap for the day, for the town hall. Very exciting town hall for me. Carlos, what a great talk you gave us. I got encouraged. I'm already in those Reddit groups checking it out. I want to do it. I know, at least for me and Melandro and Vu and all the players here on PC, like, we're going to be trying to overclock. Hope not to ruin my PC doing that. The roadmap, amazing, but I want to close with the Degathlon. And I expect you to be there. Amazing prices, but more, it's like amazing time to connect and to know each other. Let's bring our friends. Let's create guilds. Let's create clans. Let's make this an experience. Why not have a Melendro clan? Why not have a Star clan or guild? So let's make it happen. And I wish you the best week you can have. So thank you. Richie?
Sorry,
Okay.
I was muted. Yes. So sorry. Thank you everybody for joining. It was amazing, and see you next.